Hi guys, I'm Ishan Tripathi, physics faculty at Ask IITians, and today we're going to start with an interesting topic of class 12th, that is capacitance. But before we start with it, let me share with you the importance of this chapter.
So if I talk about the 12th board exams, that board exam wise, I can say this electrostatics, which comprise of these three parts, out of which the first two we have already done. We're going to start with capacitance, has actually a weightage of around 20 to 23%. That makes it around one fourth or one fifth of the whole of the syllabus. So that makes it a very important chapter. If I talk about competitive exams like JEE mains and advanced, so let me first talk about JEE mains. If I talk about mains, then this chapter is so it's having an average weightage because you can expect 1 to 2 question in the whole of the paper from capacitance itself. I'm not talking about the whole electrostatics, just capacitance if I'm focusing on. But if I talk about JEE advanced, as you all know, we have two papers in JEE advanced. So in JEE advanced, in both, in fact I should say each of the papers, up to 2 questions have been asked in past. So just imagine, on a single day you're answering, there are 4 questions asked in the whole paper from capacitance. 2 in first paper, 2 in second paper. So that makes it an extremely important chapter from JEE advanced perspective. 2 questions in each paper. Extremely important, cannot be skipped. This chapter one has to be perfect at if he's willing to go for colleges like IITs. So this is about the weightage of it. Now let's start with this, start learning this chapter also. So this, I would say, capacitance is not independently a new chapter because it has been clubbed together with electric field and electrostatic potential. Of course, it has something to do with those. So as you might recall, we discussed one question when we were doing electrostatics, when we were learning electric field. If you remember, we took this example when there were two parallel plates kept over each other. So I assumed them to be infinitely large charge sheets. And I had given them positive, equal positive, and negative charge densities. One at the top, one at the bottom. So we had at that time found out if the densities were plus sigma and minus sigma, the charge densities of them. So we were supposed to find out the electric field in the three regions, the region above it, the region in between, and the region below it. So if you recall, the answer we had obtained was electric field above and below was zero. And only electric field existed in between these plates from top to the bottom. And how much was the electric field? The electric field came out to be sigma upon 2 epsilon naught because of the top one in the downward direction, and sigma upon 2 epsilon naught again in the downward direction again because of the bottom negative charge. So the overall electric field came out to be sigma upon epsilon naught. This is what we have obtained earlier. Now guys, this combination of plates kept in parallel, given equal and opposite charges, this setup is actually called capacitor. But why? Why are we interested in this particular configuration of charges? Why are we interested in keeping two plates parallel to each other and giving equal and opposite charges? See, capacitor from the basics, if you try to understand, is actually a charge storing device. Our job is to store charges on a device. So it's a charge storing device. I'm so sorry. It's a charge storing device. So why do we need to store charge in this very kind of complex way, given positive to one, negative to one? Why not store charges on a single conductor? Maybe I could have taken a sphere, I could have connected to a socket, and then maybe I had obtained some charges on it. What would have been the problem? Why did I not store charges on a single conductor, but instead chose to have two conductors and give an equal and opposite charges? The reason for that is actually kind of simple. Because imagine guys, if there was a single conductor on which I was storing charges, it would have electric field present outside. And if that electric field existed, don't you think it is going to interact with the charges in the surroundings? So there are atoms and all those gases around. So though it can ionize for example, it can ionize the gases around also. And because of this electric field, it is going to pull the negative charges. And if negative charges get pulled towards it, so don't you think with time this charge is going to get depreciated? So it would undergo self-discharge. So if we are charging a device, what we do not want is electric field present outside the body. We do not want electric field to be present outside. So I think from this you can easily guess why we have actually taken equal and oppositely charged plates, because in this configuration outside there is no electric field, but only inside between the two plates electric field exists. So there would be least possibility of it self discharging. So that is what we want in capacitors, electric field to be to be produced inside and staying in over there. So this is one way how we can store charges. But how do we actually store charges on it? How can I give it equal positive and equal negative? Like, I guess like if we are giving charges from outside, it'll be a little bit tough to exactly keep them equal. Giving exactly 20 nanocoulomb charge from the top and at the top sheet, and exactly 20 negative 20 nanocoulomb to the bottom. So it's not done in a way that you have to independently store the charges. If I talk about the mechanism of storing charges on them, storing charges on a capacitor, this is a bit smarter. Storing charges on capacitor. So for that, what we do, guys, we actually connect these two plates, let's say the top one and the bottom one, with a battery. Like these are connected to the two ends of the battery, like this. And then what we do, as soon as the, let's say this battery, like let's say there was a key, as soon as the key is opened, let's say there was a 5-volt battery, what is going to happen? It's going to start flowing the charges through it. So what is going to happen? What does it give? Does it give positive charge from the top? No. That's just a convention. In reality, a battery gives negative charges, electrons from the negative terminal of it. So what is going to happen? Electrons are going to flow from this side. So what is going to happen? Electrons are eventually going to get stored on it. But at the same time, battery, if it's giving electrons from one side, must take in electrons from the other side. So what it is going to do? It is going to take electrons from this neutral sheet and it is going to make it net positively charged. So that is how charges are getting stored on it. So for this, to help you imagine this, I'm going to show you a simulation, guys. Let's try to look at it. So we are saying these two plates which are present over here, these are connected to a battery. Let's see from the beginning. This battery, I have put the voltage of it to be 0 volts initially. So if it's 0 volt, it's not basically working. So there are two plates at some separation, that's fine. Nothing is stored on it. But imagine, guys, as soon as I increase the voltage of it, see what is going to happen. What has happened? You saw some electrons moving from here and then going back from there. An arrow was made at that time when I was scrolling it up. And then you have seen some charges have got stored on this lower plate, negative charges, electrons, and electrons equal amount have been taken out of the other plate. So can you imagine how smartly they have actually ensured that equal and opposite charges they have? Whatever charge it is going to give, it is going to take from the other side. In fact, if I increase the voltage of this, we can see as I'm increasing the voltage, the number of charges stored are also getting increased. As I increase the voltage further, more charges are getting stored. If I increase the voltage further, more charges are going to get stored. So you can imagine, this is actually a charge storing device. Later on, this charged capacitor, I'll put it in a box, I will take it somewhere else, and then I'm going to take the charges out of it. I can use that in some other circuit, maybe to light a bulb. So you can see, more the voltage I give, the larger battery I use to charge it, more charges would be stored on it. In fact, if I flip the battery's polarity, if I started to make the lower one as positive, so this is what is going to happen. It is going to get stored also. The charges are going to get stored in the opposite direction. Now, many more things are still going to come. We are going to discuss how the separation between, for example, the separation between these two capacitors is going to affect the stored charges. For example, for this particular voltage, if I increase the separation, the number of charges stored become lesser. And if I decrease the separation, number of charges increase that are stored. Another important dependence of it, if I decrease the area, number of charges reduce. If I increase the area, number of charges stored increase. So all these things we are going to discuss later on. For that, join Ask IITian's live classes to understand all the mysteries of this topic called capacitor.